Clippers, another team that the last time they hit on a draft pick was Terrence Mann in 2019. They have missed on every single draft pick since. They have failed. They've moved up in drafts. They've failed on picks. They haven't. They had that horrible trade last year where they swapped to get Eric Gordon for half a season. They moved from the 19th pick to the 30th pick in the draft. And then they took Kobe Brown instead of Cam Whitmore, who went at 19, which now looks like a fucking disaster because Cam Whitmore's obviously going to be a guy and Kobe Brown's already 24 years old. So the Clippers, their outlook is like very similar to the Suns, I would say. Massive payroll, unreliable top-end stars that are aging, and more importantly, no draft picks until I think they have a pick in 2030 is their next like unprotected pick that they technically still could trade if they wanted to, but the Sixers own some of their draft capital. OKC still owns some of their draft capital, and moving forward, it's basically going to be an every other year thing where they're able to draft.
On top of that, I want to run through their 3 stars. You have one of your 3 stars is under contract. That guy just missed the playoffs and is hurt every single year. He's a great player, but he's also getting into his back end of his 30s, and now he's under contract for a long time.
What is he, 33, 34?
30. I think he's my age, so I think he's 34. He's either 34 or 33. I can look it up. But and then you have 2 other stars, one of which you just traded for. You traded real stuff for last year. He's actually 32. He's going to be 33 in June. But either way, not good.
Being 32 is kind of wild.
That is kind of nuts. I thought he was like 34.
I think he's the greatest. I think he's the greatest what if of all time.
He might be. Seriously.
He is. Because it's like, think about every year that he's been healthy enough in the playoffs outside of the bubble, he's basically got to the finals or won the finals.
Yeah. New Grant Hill, man.
It's basically he's basically super Grant Hill. Like, what if Grant Hill was maybe like a super Tracy McGrady? You know what I mean? Like, where it's like if Tracy had 2 runs in him throughout his career instead of getting injured every single year, then what would his career look like? But Kawhi is just not reliable at this point. He's never going to be healthy in the playoffs.
So you're moving into a new building. I think they're about to become a repeater team too. And it
depends. Who are they bringing back?
So this is my point. So you have James Harden and Paul George are your other 2 stars. Paul George is being tied to teams, including your Philadelphia 76ers. He's also pretty old. We've seen the Paul George Kawhi thing for a long time. And it's good, but not great. It's, an outside shot of a title if everything goes right for you, and it has not gone right for you at any point. And you have aging James Harden, who did really well in the playoffs, which is a little bit of a double-edged fucking sword, because guess what? Guess who's asking for a max contract again this offseason. So, and this is what we've learned from the Damian Lillard thing. Honestly, the other big skill for this things is don't be the team stuck holding the fucking bag when the guy goes off the cliff. That's the other thing that like really destroys you as a team. I think the 2 things under this new CBA that are really going to kill you are being stuck paying the old guy who, when he crashes off the cliff, and 2, having to pay one of your own young players that is not good enough to have a max contract, and you're paying him a max contract. Keep cutting him. Oh, Jesus, my throat.
Evan Mobley.
Oh my God. Oh, you've got it too. That's nuts.
Oops.
So yeah, well, so like stuff like that is going to happen. And I don't know. The Clippers have no way. They have, I guess, a few more role players, and I think they're in a little better situation than the Suns, because I do think that, broadly speaking, LA seems to be one of those towns where you can get people to show up, and like when guys get bought out, you can actually probably get buyout guys, so they can usually get Miller
has real money. He doesn't have Like, this is what I've been trying to explain to people. I know you said, like, on the last episode, like, the mortgage business might be good, but, like,
Yeah, it's not that
ain't
good.
no one spending $300 million for a team that ain't making the playoffs. Like, that's just not a thing that happens ever, and it will never happen. The only time it's ever happened in the history of the NBA was the Warriors when they had multiple injuries and they were in the middle of a dynasty.
Yeah, right. There was like, yeah, they were like years and years away. Yeah. And Ballmer, like, I mean, he's obviously one of the richest owners in the NBA and is also has let's just say a lot of energy. He has a lot of energy that can come from anywhere.
Yeah.
So he might be more willing to, yeah, that's good. Let's do it. Let's make that the move. So like he's more
A
willing
lot of
to
their,
eat it.
have I not
Yeah.
said, a lot of their decisions feel like
Yeah.
their Wall Street room decisions.
Yeah. It's a little Scorsese film gonna be
Yeah.
coming out.
Could they possibly buy out Quinn Snyder from the Hawks and get him to replace Ty Lue?
Oh no. That would be amazing. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think that they're in a situation too where they're moving to a new stadium too, where so it's like you can't even pivot to your rebuild really. You're kind of like forced at gunpoint to continue to fucking double down. Like I think some of these, like the Suns' hand is just going to be forced by the fact that like Matt Ishbia is just not going to have money, like, and he like literally won't be able to pay them, so they're just gonna have to trade KD in the next 2 years.
Which, by the way, I have heard rumors that we might be playing I know it's not popular to play P. Diddy right now, but I'm Coming Home by might be playing for Kevin Durant soon. Let's just say that.
That's right. He's going to
not
Dallas.
Washington, D.C., his NBA home. Let's just say that.
That's college home, not the Longhorns?
No, not that either.
Okay.
One state over, though.
One state. But yeah, I just think that they are, because none of the other thing is like none of these guys have trade value. I think even if you re-sign Paul George, James Harden, and Kawhi Leonard, in terms of like stars, guys, if you're paying these guys $60 million, I don't think you're getting much back, if anything. Like, I think you might just be handing someone the contract when you trade these guys.
Yeah.
Versus some of these other teams we're going to talk about have like guys who, if you traded them, would like instantly give you a jumpstart rebuild. Like we're talking multiple good first round picks and like some good young players. Like if you were to trade them, and I don't think you're getting that for Kawhi Leonard and his injury history and aging Paul George and James Harden. So,
and I do just want to point out here that Paul George kind of has the Clippers over a barrel in these negotiations. Yeah. Because he has the Magic, the Sixers, cap space teams that could possibly offer him a full max. Yeah. And the Clippers' alternative is let him walk, pay James Harden, and hope that you can get him, because Harden doesn't have a market. I mean, it's just, there's no realistic market of any of these teams that would sign James Harden after everything that's happened, even though James Harden had a better season than Paul George. And the thing is
John Horst, do you want to be a legend?
John Horst?
Yeah, isn't he being taking the Detroit job? I thought he was. I heard he's getting elevated. Yeah,
he's being pursued. I think.
Yes,
that's an interesting one. But, I mean, I'm sure they'll try everything. I know Chiodo's joked about James Harden has long had a respect for Coach Greg Popovich and would love the idea of pairing up with young budding superstar Victor Wembanyama. In like we will get Woj things like leverage pieces, but we all know at the end of the day, Harden's options are the Clippers, and that's kind of it. And so if that's the case, maybe you can get Harden for 35 to 40 million to come back per year. And then you have Kawhi, who took below the max. There was a rumor out there that Kawhi took below the max in case the Clippers did decide to blow it up. They could trade him by this offseason. But I think they're more likely to try to get all these guys back, maybe even overpay to keep Paul George because of the other offers that are out there, and then try 1 or 2 more years with this core. And then if things really go to shit, like you said, they can eventually get back to the point where all their deals expire around the same time 3 to 4 years from now. They can either trade them as expirings, or they can just let them expire and have a path to cap space, because they're one of the only markets where cap space has any sort of tangible like outcomes for teams. Like the majority, like the reason why I hated the cap space plan for the Sixers was because I didn't think we ever got free agents. Now we're sitting here in May of 2024, and I go, okay, well, I also didn't see this new CBA and all of the ramifications of these teams spending way too much money, and it ending up being possibly a benefit for a team like the Sixers. But LA, no matter what the climate is, they're always going to have a more enticing offer for players that want to live in LA, and the Lakers can only roster so many stars. So
I'm worried it's going to like kill slop season in like 2 years. Bill Simmons needs to be held. Everyone who whined and moaned about the player empowerment era needs to be fucking held to account. Like, that was the consent manufacturing that was used by the owners to steamroll through this new fucking CBA that sucks shit. That it like players aren't going to be able to go fucking anywhere in like 2 or 3 years. Like we're like I'm concerned about our beautiful slop season, folks. We're going to have a generational slop season this offseason. I think it'll still be okay next season, but then 2026, 2027, CJ McCollum, as a media guy, your crimes will be remembered. Malcolm Brogdon, Grant Williams, all of you, I will remember your names for selling out your fellow union members.
We will become McCarthyists, but for former NBA union guys that try to become podcasters.
It'll be like the last third of Oppenheimer, where I'm like Robert Downey Jr. in the Senate hearings. Now, Mr. McCollum, did you know at this point that the CBA would be coming up? Doing it in the back room.
When you created the second apron rules, did you realize the ramifications?
Grant Williams, did you or did you not? I don't know why I'm Southern in this one. Foghorn Leghorn. Foghorn Leghorn.
Feels like they're all Foghorn Leghorn for some reason. But yeah, it's just like they're trying to blacklist my guy Patrick Beverly right now. The woke media is trying to cancel my dude. Oh, look, the best part about this is that everyone's getting mad at Patrick Beverly for asking that reporter whether she subscribed to his podcast or not, while completely overlooking the fact that he threw a basketball at a fan's head in the crowd twice.
Did you hear what the fan said? He said 1, 2, 3 Cancun, which is so funny, while they were doing their huddle, which is what pissed him off, which is awesome. That's so sick. Like,
the only line of work where someone can yell at you about going on vacation and you get mad.
Yeah, right.
Any other person would be like, yeah, go to Punta Cana.
Yeah, you're rich and attractive and you're going to Cancun. That sucks. Fuck you.
Anyway, we'll be here in Indiana.
Yeah. I'm going back to Gary after this. Fuck you. Yeah. That's awesome. It's good shit. It's good shit. And they get mad at you. And the millionaires get mad at you.
Exactly. Oh my god. But we can all agree that the Clippers are probably the second most fucked. I think that what do you think they do? Do you think Paul George walks, or do you think he goes back?
I think Steve Ballmer, because he's the nail on this. I think Steve Ballmer just says, bring everyone back. And I think that that's what they're going to like try to do. I think it would behoove the timeline of the next Clippers championship being measured in years instead of decades would mean that I would hope that they strike out on James Harden and Paul George and just try to get younger with cap space or take on shitty deals, fill that lane, have Kawhi out there putzing around, and who knows? Is really Kawhi plus like, mid free agent X, like is Kawhi and Tobias really like making 20 million like really that different? Like,
if you're the Clippers, would you rather just lose Paul George for nothing, or would you rather try to work out some sort of deal where you can be like, here's second round picks to make this work, and we'll either take a big exception, sign him, send him into your cap space, or we can try to get back Tobias Harris, DeAnthony Melton, the guys that you don't want, kind of similar to how the Warriors did their step ladder deal with Kevin Durant, where they traded Kevin Durant and then they were like, wait, can we get D'Angelo Russell? We'll send you a fake first so we can get D'Angelo Russell, so later we can turn him into Andrew Wiggins and a pick.
I think because of the hard cap, I don't think they can do sign and trade.
But if they avoid the second apron, they can, I think.
Okay. Yeah, because I was going to say it depends on Harden. I think
it depends what the Harden deal looks like, and it depends what other money they can move, because they still have Norm Powell, who makes a decent amount of money. Zubac doesn't make nothing. Terrence Mann doesn't make nothing.
They'd have to make a decision on Harden, because I think Harden's cap hold is going to be like $48 million or something like that. So, which is probably going to be bigger than what you end up paying him.
Sure.
So I don't like, you probably have to figure out Harden first. So I think something like that is possible, but it usually doesn't like really work out that way. Kind of how the sign and trades end up working out is it's like, I've agreed to terms with them. And what you do is you end up crawling on your hands and knees behind the wait. Just take some second round picks so we can get a traded player exception, please. Please? Can we do that? And then you can have your money, Paul George, and that's, so I don't know. I'm
thinking the Sixers would only do that if it's an agent favor to, like, in Tobias's case, it's not an agent favor because Tobias's agent is his dad and it's his only client. But like, if DeAnthony Melton grew up in LA and he's a Clippers fan, and if the Sixers are going to let him walk anyway because of they're worried about his back issues or whatever, then that might be a scenario where it's like, let's just help out DeAnthony Melton get some money. And here's whatever. And they've done business with the Clippers in the past. I mean, they literally just did the Harden trade. So it's not like these teams. And then if you want to go back even further, I know it was the Elton Brand front office, but they did make the original Tobias Harris trade too. So it's not like these front offices haven't made trades before. But it would have to behoove the Sixers to do this. And there has to be some sort of incentive. And I think Morey would just be like, why don't we just use the fucking cap space? Why are we getting involved with these
That's
guys?
what I was just gonna say. Like, Daryl Morey finally just Shawshank style got out from under the all the sins of the Colangelo and Elton Brand front office. We are just now getting a version of the Sixers that is
built in his image.
Yes, exactly. So, and I don't think he's gonna surrender that. Like, I think he wants Tobias and all these guys like gone, and then making his own decisions on Kyle Lowry, Kelly Oubre.
That makes sense.
Two. All these guys. So I don't know. I mean, I think I put them next on the rankings because they're also like uber fucked. They don't have as many picks like out the door as the Suns. And they are a little bit more competitive. Like we still saw the Clippers when healthy were actually a very good team this year. Like it just was Kawhi got hurt fucking again, and maybe that's all they have to tell themselves,
it's not conceptual. It's the reality is that this team, before they got James Harden, made it to the conference finals. They've won playoff series with Kawhi and Paul George. And this year they honestly probably would have won this series if Kawhi was healthy. Like, I mean, they took it to 6, and like, I think that him being healthy would have been the difference.
And I think they would have, if they were healthy, I think they would have stood a pretty good chance against the Thunder too. Like, I don't think it's not like the Lakers where it's like you're kind of kidding yourself a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Next team you wanted to talk about? I kind of think that there might be another team that might be a little bit more fucked.
That I'm like thinking it over as I'm talking here. Just to like close out the Clippers, I think that they'll tell themselves, because they're the only team in the regular season that like beat the fuck out of the Celtics this year. Like convincingly. I think the Celtics only got blown out like twice this year. And like one of them was
they beat all the good teams in the NBA this year, basically, at some point.
Yes. So just the thing is, like, these guys are getting old and it's like a ticking time bomb. When are these guys going to be unplayable in the playoffs? We kind of thought this would be the year for James Harden, but it turned out James Harden still had a little bit left, so maybe they've just got to be insane. Maybe they'll be like the Lakers were last year, where they're just crawling in as an 8 seed every year, like because of how they load manage. And, maybe that's the path forward, but I'm guessing they just re-sign everyone and bring everyone back. But I just don't think they're ever going to be a legitimate title contender because I just don't trust them to be healthy, and they really have no avenues to improvement. It's pretty much just holding on to this team that they have right now. So
yeah, I agree. I think that their only chance to compete in the next few years is to basically run it back. And if they decide to let Paul George go, I think that they're probably better off trying to get James Harden on a decent contract that's movable. And if it doesn't work out, trade everyone in a year. Like,
yeah, I was saying, I just wouldn't even resign him. I just, okay, we're starting over. Here's Kawhi Leonard, and we'll take bad contract. There's not a lot of bad teams, and people are going to need dumping contract spots. Like, hey, we'll take Zach LaVine, shit like that, and just pivoting to like being kind of a bad team. Like, yes, it's going to suck when you're sending, you're sending the Thunder like the 10th overall pick or whatever, but like, if you want to win a title, like I think that we're hitting the point now where, we've got 1, maybe 2 years of that being like a realistic possibility. And when I say realistic, I mean like a 3% chance, so anyway.
Also, it's